Yards across America are filled with old stuff, piled up everywhere. My job is to sort through the rubble and uncover the hidden treasures of the yard sale. I sort through the trash and turn crap into cash. Hi, and welcome back. This is episode 2 of Pickin, Vegas. This is a show about the stuff I find at local yard sales, estate sales, and other places. I buy these items and I fix them up and resell them on. This past weekend was pretty tough. It was really windy. There weren't a lot of sales, but we still managed to find a whole variety of pretty neat, interesting items that I think I can make some money on. So let's get started and I'll show you what I got. Okay, and here's all the stuff we found over the last weekend. This is everything just in those 2 days. We'll start over here with some military belts I ran across. I got these for $1 each. We'll probably get around $5 each. Most of these lower price things just go to my antique store for, you know, cool stuff I find, and I buy it for $1 or whatever and get $5, and that stuff does really good down there. So we got a little antique iron here. This is probably more turn of the century kind of item. It's pretty old and heavy. People love this stuff as decorator items. Same with this little guy. It's only one book in, but I think it's bronze. It's got a cool mark. It's got a lion. How can you go wrong? A couple of neat old table lighters that we paid $5 for. Little Joe Cool we got for $1. Nice little Budweiser mug got for $1. You know, something like this will get $5 or so. We got this big jar. Pretty neat things. People could put coins or other things in it, so we kind of felt it was kind of cool enough to buy it, and we got that for $2. So not too much risk there. We did find these cool dolls here from the Wizard of Oz. They're quite large. These guys are probably 18 inches tall, close to anyway. We'll be looking in to see what those guys are all about, but they're in pretty nice shape and not the kind of thing you find every day. We found this camera and lenses. I got the camera for $10 and the lenses for $5, and it also came with this flash unit. Sometimes this stuff works out really good and sometimes it does not. This does have a macro lens. I know sometimes those can have some collectability, so we'll go in more in depth on that later and see what we got. Next, we have a Ozzy Osbourne rock and roll t-shirt. Got that for $2. I don't see how you go wrong with a rock and roll t-shirt for $2, so we'll check that out too later. Next is a nice little Sky Caddy GPS unit. Kind of tells you where your golf course is and where you're at and stuff. Looks brand new, had all the papers. Got that for about $5. And then we found this neat Zodiac Aries Ram, solid brass on a marble base. Nice little piece. We got that for $5. I think that'll sell pretty quick too. We have a mystery elf doll. Don't know the manufacturer or anything about it really. We got it for $5 because it's really well made, and sometimes these things have some good value to them. We'll have to see if this is one of those, but again, picked up some old books. Never pay much for these, 50 cents, $1 tops. I like to find old books that have something like John Kennedy, Frank Lloyd Wright, and then generally those will do pretty good in the antique store again. And then down here on the ground, we went to a really great sale. There was so much good stuff. I mean, it was everywhere, and all of it was full price, except this. So we did manage to get this for $2. It's a portable handheld CB unit that you can just plug into your lighter, set the antenna up, and you have an instant CB. It's in great shape, looks near new, so pretty cool. Next was these 2 old ships. Normally I wouldn't buy wooden ships because they just made a whole ton of them and they're not really anything. But these definitely have a lot of age to them, so I'm guessing they're 50, 60 years old. They're a little broken up, a lot broken up for that matter, but the lady did give me a bag full of parts, so hopefully most of everything's in there. I'll try and glue them back together the best I can and let somebody else take it from there. And then we found this record player. This is a Yamaha. It's a pretty nice unit. I almost always buy record players if they're in reasonably good shape. They always sell good. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but even the old ones that are really good, even if they don't work, they have value. So we'll have to see on this one how it works and what it's really worth, but it is a Yamaha. The cover's on it. It's pretty nice shape. And then finally, we picked this thing up at a yard sale from a guy that we've been to his yard sale a number of times. I think he buys storage units or something, but it's usually kind of crappy stuff. But we did manage to pick this up, and it's a wireless microphone system. So I got it for 10 bucks, and we'll be doing another video on that, on whether that works out or not and what it's worth. So, and that wraps up this week's table shot. So next we're going to go into a little more detail and figure out what some of this stuff's actually worth or whether it works. Okay, first we'll go over a couple of the small things. We got this little Joe Cool figurine set. Still got the tag on it. Looked great. Got it for $1, except there's supposed to be a little Woodstock bird right here, and well, he wasn't there. So, if he was there, believe it or not, this thing is worth around 40 bucks, but it's not there. So, I'll probably go ahead and remove him completely in a way that looks nice and just put it in the antique store for somebody to have a nice little Snoopy collectible. The next thing I didn't really cover earlier, but I did get this vintage Mitchell Garcia saltwater fishing reel. It is a little froze up and stuck, but this thing's probably, I'm guessing, from the 60s, maybe even the 50s, who knows. It is an old piece. I got it for $1. I'll warm the grease up inside, and with these 4 little screws I can pop this off, warm this grease up, it'll melt out, and then put some new stuff in there, and it'll probably all free up and get going. If it does get going, these do actually sell good and bring right around 20 bucks on eBay, so it's not a bad little find for what it is. And we have the camera and lenses. Sometimes these old 35mm film cameras actually are pretty collectible and have some good value. Some do and some don't. So I'm not going to go into all the brands that are great or not great because it goes all over the place. But generally when I see these Canon cameras or Nikon cameras, both of those seem to do pretty good generally when you're dealing with these old ones. I did get lucky that this one, I was able to get these 2 lenses here for $5. Turns out one of them is a macro lens, this one right here. And one of them is actually a fixed lens, a 50mm fixed lens. Both of those are really good lenses, even on these old cameras, and each of them, after a little research, should easily bring 60 bucks a piece. So at $5, $120. And then we have the camera itself, this is an FTB. It's got a zoom lens on it. I did check it out. The shutter's working, and so as far as I can tell, it's in good shape. Once you pull this leather case off, it's actually in really nice shape. And this will bring another 100 bucks. So $10 to $100 and $5 to $120. Really, really good find on that one. And the Elf doll. I looked and looked this thing over. I cannot find a tag on it and can't figure out who makes it. There's a similar artist called Florence Maranuk that did Showstoppers. They're pixie fairy dolls. I did see some similarity between those and this one. I don't know if this is one of those or not, but they would have originally had a hand tag that went off their hand and hung down. Maybe this is marked somewhere and I just haven't found it yet, but it's definitely going to take some more research before I can figure out if it's actually worth anything. So this is kind of a to be continued, if it turns out to be anything anyway. So we'll see later what that turns out like. Okay, you just heard testing for the Shure wireless microphone system. Turns out everything worked really good. It was pretty easy to get set up. It just needed 2 AA batteries, and then you hit the button on the top, hold it for a few seconds, hit another button on this, and they connect up, and it worked great. You can go quite a ways away from where the base unit is, and so that worked out really good. Check the price on this. This is an easy $150 set of stuff, so our original purchase price of $10 turned out really, really good. So another win this week. All right, and the record player. So I did plug this in, put a record on it, and actually worked good. So another win this week for the electronic stuff. The needle on it's good. Everything went over and back and just like it should. So worked out great. It does have a couple little issues. The hinges back here, the springs broke through and they're not staying up. But the good news is it does have the cover, which a lot of these don't sometimes. So So overall, I think this thing's going to bring maybe 60 to 80 bucks locally, and somebody's going to be really happy with it. I'll need to clean it up and finish it up and get it ready, but that's about it on that one. And here we have the Wizard of Oz dolls. This is Tin Man, Dorothy, the little dog Toto, and the Scarecrow. These were pretty easy to identify because this guy still has his tag, which helps a lot, and is clearly marked on the back of his neck. These happen to be Franklin Mint items, same as the little Corvette from last episode. They were made, this guy's marked as 1986, so I'm sure they were all made right in that era. They were part of a whole series of these guys, which also had the Lion and the Wicked Witch and the Good Witch as well, which were available. If these guys were new in the box, they're probably all worth somewhere around $100 a piece, but they're not new in the box. And after looking at what collectors do on eBay, I think they're better off for the antique store as a set that I'll just put at around $100 for all three of them. I paid $50, so that'll minimize the amount of time I have in them, and somebody can get a set of three all at once and should work out pretty good. So pretty neat items, and hopefully they'll do well down there. Okay, next is the Ozzy shirt. This is what I love about doing what I do. This $2 item turned out to be really, really, really special. This is an Ozzy Osbourne 1991 Crucifix Concert Tour shirt. It is clearly marked 1991. They do reproduce these. It's so cool they reproduce them. And what's neat about this shirt is all of this off-white area is actually puffy and raised, and all of that glows in the dark at night. Super cool item. It's a Hanes, size large. It's still in new condition. Here's the back of it. It has another glow-in-the-dark figure here. So, good news for me, at least at this moment in time. There are a few of these on eBay. They range from anywhere from around $150. Some people are asking crazy money at over $1,000. The reality is they do sell, and when they do sell, they sell for $150 to $250. So I do have the only size large at the moment, so I'm hoping maybe I can get more towards the high side of that, but we'll see. But even at $150, wow, what a find. And a follow-up from last week. If you remember the little hippo that I wasn't sure about that my wife picked, we put it in the antique store. It sold in 2 days. So that was a great pick. It shows that having two perspectives when you're doing this always helps. She sees things I don't, and I see things she doesn't, and together it makes for a good team. Also, that Halo vehicle, the Warthog, that put on eBay, sold in 1 hour for 70 bucks. So things are moving. Okay, that wraps up episode 2. We had a great week. We spent a total of $140. And I do expect the retail prices for these items to hit anywhere from about $850 all the way up to possibly $1,000 or more. We had a great week, especially considering we barely found any sales. So I can't wait to see what's coming. I'll see you next week with a brand new pile.